Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. I figured today I would take a little bit of a break from the school saga because if you guys hadn't noticed, usually I do the video and then I'm like MIA for a couple days or even a week because I just need to decompress. So I thought that I would make this video kind of just talking about Black mental health and what that means and what are some ways that you can help with your mental health, considering the fact that everything's been going on for, let's be real, centuries. But we'll just act like 2020 is where it all started, with the Black Lives Matter movement. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk today. I've been fasting for a whole day. But we'll get into that in this video also. So let's get started. So Black mental health. Basically, I know growing up myself and a lot of people that are my friends who identify as either African, Black, African American, Afro-Latino, Caribbean, from the island, something of that nature. Typically, when you talk about mental health, you're like, ooh, auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so, they got their own issues. We don't really talk about that. And that's pretty much the extent of it. Or people are just kind of like, suck it up, buttercup. Or any issues that you have, you keep it in these four walls. It's very much, don't talk about it and you just need to figure it out. So what we have is a lot of people that are in our communities that are not getting the help that they need because it's considered a taboo issue, or it's something that's looked at as being weak because, being in society as a person of color, we always have like this halo over top of our heads that's like, oh, these individuals are always seen as some criminal or seen as people that are less than. So a lot of times we feel like we can't even voice some of the things that are going on with us because we figured nobody's going to care to listen. We already have like these crazy stereotypes over top of our head, and then to show any type of weakness, it's kind of like giving in to society. Like society has beat us, like it's the society that we're in has won. And so that's not the healthiest mindset to have. It's better to be aware of your mental health and be aware that it's okay to do something about your mental health. Not everything is gonna turn into a mental health issue where you need to see like professional mental health. You can take steps daily to ensure you're protecting your mental health, not just from like the outside world, but people in your own household, people in your own family. I'm sure most of us have family members that we don't even talk to because, let's be honest, we already established that they're a detriment to our mental health. So you need to part ways. And if you haven't done that, hopefully watching this video and some of the things that I'm going to talk about will encourage you to really put yourself first and not put it's an institution of family. Like, a family is supposed to be a healthy environment. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean that you have to be near somebody, right? You can love them from a distance. So with that being said, I'm just gonna kind of talk about my own mental health for a little bit, and then kind of encompass some of the things that have been helping me and some of the things that I noticed that are not helping me that could be toxic. So with this whole quarantine thing that's been going on with coronavirus, that's not easing up, and most of you guys know I'm in Florida, so I'm sure you see the news. I'm sure you see like social media, like Florida people be flirting and they don't know how to like keep their behinds inside. So it has been exhausting. I've been working from home for about oh my gosh, almost 4 months now. And I always thought like, oh, I want to work from home. Like, don't get me wrong, it has its pluses and its minuses. Like, the major minus that I see is like the frustration with not having as much accessibility as I did being in the office. So that's kind of an issue, you know, computer issues. It's not my computer, it's theirs because my internet works fine. But also, you know, even the stress on my body because I had to order a desk chair and everything and a footrest. And I've noticed that, you know, like my hip has been popping. And so I've been trying to do some physical therapy bands to try and get that corrected. Just, you know, that 15-pound quarantine is a real deal. Just a lot of things that I've noticed, like, that I didn't really have to deal with in the office. You know, if I have an issue with something, like if I'm working and I have an issue, like usually in the office, I can go directly to the source of where the issue is, like the person. Now I'm noticing that it's a lot of emails back and forth and a lot of conferences that are not really what I want to do because some things I'm like, can we just like hit a pin in it? So I noticed that even my levels of frustration have increased, which I didn't even think it was possible, but I have noticed that I've become a lot more short-tempered because I'm just agitated. Like I'm tired of being inside. I'm tired of 2020, like screwing up my flow of just getting out and really taking advantage of, you know, it's nice weather. So you know, recently in the last couple weeks, I've made it a point to go and at least try and get like a walk in. You know, it's best to always get some type of exercise in. Don't just be a couch potato. And I'm saying that for myself. So, you know, it's good to get up and exercise and really get your body moving. That also will help with alleviating some of the tension and stress that you might be feeling because tension and stress, believe it or not, you can feel it on your body. Like I definitely have needed my back cracked, so I've definitely got it cracked. Not like that, but you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of wear and tear on your body. And for those individuals that have been lucky enough to still maintain a position, but unlucky in terms of like you're out and you're working amongst the population, like I totally feel for you because I'm sure my complaints are like, girl, you're not even like dealing with all these Karens. So trust me, I got them on the phones and through email and conferences. But so I totally have worked retail before. I pretty much have worked almost every job you can think of. So there's not too many jobs that I haven't done that are the everyday normal jobs. And I say that because I know some of y'all probably work like crazy jobs or something. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a job. But so trust me, this is not coming from a place of I'm talking above anybody's head or anything like that. Like I definitely had my fair share of all kinds of jobs, retail, food, water park, you name it, I've done it. So I can only imagine working those same jobs in a pandemic like this. So for those individuals, you really need to take that time to decompress, and it is okay to be selfish. Selfishness is not the problem. When it starts turning into narcissist, that's when we have the problems. The difference is a person that is selfish with their time understands they need to put themselves first, but while they're putting themselves first, they're not putting other people below and beneath them and becoming a toxic individual in order to suit themselves, to uplift themselves. So make sure you understand the difference. Make sure that you're not a narcissist and that you're just being selfish with your time and making sure that you're putting yourself first. So with that being said, some of the things that I've tried to encompass is, you know, like the walking. I've encompassed like if I'm just kind of like, I don't want to walk, I might just go sit outside and just relax. I have learned that one of the toxic things that I did while I got home, which I'm kind of like, okay, you knew better, but whatever. I noticed that I was like eating a lot more junk that typically I would not eat. Like usually I would have a pretty strict diet, so I'm like really trying to get these lbs back off. But also drinking my calories, that was a major one. Like I noticed that when I would get frustrated with work stuff, like as opposed to if I'm at work, it's kind of like, okay, I can take a 15-minute break and just walk around. Well, I was like at home and I'm like, well, I could just have me a little drink for lunch. So, here and there, it starts adding up. Calories start adding up. And plus it's not a good thing to do. I'm definitely, haven't really been drinking in the last like month or so because I just noticed that it's taking a wear and tear on not only just my physical body, but like my mental. I noticed that my hormone levels were up and down. If you guys don't know, alcohol is a drug that can, create depression, especially if you already have depression. It is a depressive. So that's something that you guys need to be cognizant of. If you're like, oh, I just need a drink to like relax, try and find some other things to help you relax. Like make having a drink be something that you do as like a once in a while thing. Don't make it an everyday, or try not to make it like an every other day either. Because I know I was kind of like, oh, I'm doing it every so many days, like, no big deal. But it really is like that's how you start creating a toxic pattern. And it also doesn't allow you to fully feel your feelings and really sit with your feelings and understand like, hey, I need to be self-aware. I need to do things that are going to help me in this pandemic that are not going to hinder my mental or my physical state. Like the best thing to do is you don't want the virus to beat you. And I mean, not like just the virus itself, but you don't want to have the mindset where you're like, oh, okay, I'm stuck in the house. I can't go on vacation. I can't see my friends. I can't do a party. And next thing you know, you're like on my 600-pound life or something, that is a no-go, okay? Make sure that you are putting your health as a priority. Make sure that, your loved ones are putting their health as a priority, because the one thing I have noticed is that a lot of people, because of the situation that we're in, we're not keeping routines. So it's a good thing that I'm working from home, because I can at least Monday through Friday keep a routine, but then on Saturday and Sunday I'm not keeping a routine. Like I've noticed that on the weekends, because I'm so depleted of energy from the work that I have to do at home, and that it's very exhausting work because it's tedious work, is that I'm crashed out. Like I could sleep for 2 whole days, like Saturday and Sunday, and not even care, which isn't good. So some days I have to force myself to get out of the house and go on a walk. Now, obviously, when I say that, I'm not like around anybody, so I don't want you guys to be like, oh, I'm going for a walk, and then it's like a crowd of people. Also, speaking of crowds of people, there's been, especially like in Florida and stuff, like a lot of protests and stuff like that, where, I definitely was going to go to a couple protests, but then it was like, okay, my immune system is like garbage, let's be real. And so, there's other ways you can protest. Like I know a lot of people think like, oh, the only way to truly protest is to get out there and have your voice heard, but there's other ways you can protest. You can, all these police departments that are not arresting and charging these individuals that are creating these hate crimes, you can call those police departments. You can sign petitions. If you are financially able to even donate a little bit of money, you can donate money to different foundations that are assisting people that are being put in jail after protests. You can, do some type of monetary donation. There's all kinds of ways to really help. You can use your social media platform as a way to really get the messages out. They're still not arresting the officers that killed Breonna Taylor. So these are really important things that are affecting our community and affecting the world. Like this this movement is not going to stop. It's been going on since before any of us have been alive. And I can say that because, let's be real, Black people in the world, and I'm not just talking about like in the States, even though I'm in the States, we have been grossly impoverished, systemically oppressed. We have sat here and we've been used, we've been exploited, our culture has been pillaged and raped. And, you know, for years and years and centuries, we have been fighting to be heard, not just heard, but actions. Like, so I'm going to speak about actions for a second because this has been driving me insane. So we, as a community, we have been asking for equality, not just equality in writing, but everyday practices of equality. Like, truly, equality should be something that is not even spoken about because it should just be. You know, it should just be. It shouldn't be anything that we have to beg and plead for. Like, please don't get out here and beg and plead. Like, if you notice that any of your friends that are not visual minorities, like Black people, if you notice that they're not speaking up the way you feel like they are, they're not speaking up at all, like, I say, this is how I feel. Because I have, you know, acquaintances at this point that I'll put into that category. I do not look for the community who are part of the oppressing community for validation. So what that means is I'm not going to sit here and hold the oppressors accountable for how I need to feel, because that still gives them the power. Remember, we're trying to fight to gain power. So if we keep giving the power back to them, we're back at square one, which is like, you're going to help dictate how I feel. No. We are our own people. We are a driving force. We are so much more impactful. I mean, if people are sitting here taking our music, taking our culture, taking our, you know, communities and regentrifying them, they're going to take this, you know, stance that we're having. And guess what? We need to really stay steady and stay the course, because what's happened is Black people, we get revved up. We're like, F this and F you. And, you know, you're not going to talk to us this way, and my granddaddy fought in this war, and blah, blah, blah. Like, we were the voices of always trying to reason. Okay? That needs to stop. Because when you start seeing that the people that are in your life or were in your life are not taking action, remove yourself. They've removed themselves, because that's a part of the privilege, that they can sit back, they can watch all your posts, they can watch, you know, everything on social media and the news, and walk outside and see people being discriminated against if they choose to even acknowledge. And they have the privilege to be hands off. It doesn't affect me. Right? Well, you don't need to entertain and put your energy towards people to try and say, I need you to understand why I am being oppressed. Okay, so you know what they say? You shouldn't be the smartest person in your group of friends. So if you're having to even have these conversations with anybody in your supposed friend group, are you really the smartest one, or what's happening? Because you shouldn't have to beg for acceptance. And I think that what we see is, unfortunately, a history of Black people being appeased, and with trivial things. Like, we have the renaming of the Bisquick, and, you know, Aunt Jemima, and now the NASCAR, which has been one of the most racist sports, and I use that loosely because driving in a circle is not really a sport in my opinion, but I don't care. You know, oh, we're not gonna let Confederate flags fly, and now we're gonna like put this African American or Black, I don't even know if he's like mixed with what I don't even know. Like, if somebody didn't tell me he was Black, I would have never known. Bubba something, I don't even know. But, you know, don't sit here and placate us by saying, and now we're gonna let for the NFL that, you know, has been the pivotal point in the sports world of not giving two shits. Now we're gonna play the Black anthem. Well, guess what? Most Black people don't even know all the words to Lift Every Voice. Like, lift every voice and sing. Yeah, I don't even remember all the words. Because guess what? Did you sing to the officers as they were murdering us? Did you sing to all the Karens who are trying to murder us via customer service? Oops, I mean the police. I don't care, and most Black people don't care about your trivial. I'm gonna throw something out there. See, Black people, what you need to understand is what's happening is an economic rebalancing. And what that means is economically, they're like, oh my God. Black people have the highest spending power because Black people, unfortunately, do not have generational wealth, and we do not have a tendency as a collective to have savings accounts that we actually use. So what happens is these businesses, their driving financial force is the Black dollar. So when that happens, and they're like, oh my God, Black people are gonna like cancel us, and like real cancel, not cancel culture cancel where it's like, I'm mad at you today, what's up boo tomorrow? No, really cancel culture. We don't care about you renaming teams. We don't care about you sitting up here and saying that you've played a Black cartoon character for 20 some years and now you've just decided magically you're not going to do it, when last time I checked, that's basically you retired from that, and now you'll get residual checks from playing a Black character that we didn't even care because nobody was checking for you at all. We want to not be murdered. We want to make sure that when we try and go to get a mortgage, that lending practices, what's written is actually being done, not discriminating, not redlining, not sitting up here and putting our credit with more dings on it on how you want to decipher certain things that have hit our credit versus other people that are not Black, where you want to sit here and say, oh, it was only just 2 years ago that dealerships were found out that they were actually giving Black people higher interest rates with the same exact or higher credit score than their white counterparts, and it was legal. Like, because it's a lending practice, they can decide what they want to have their interest rates at. So magically today it's at this for you, and magically tomorrow it's so low for them. So those are the things that we want. We want, and yes, I speak for me, to actually have our degrees be of value. I shouldn't have 6 figures worth of debt working at a job that currently is not actually in my degree field because of the bullshit that are in my other videos that are going to be the continual videos of how I was discriminated against and pushed out of a career path that, truth be told, still wouldn't have been paying me enough to pay off that high ass dollar amount. Let's talk about that. Guess what? Let's talk about all these major companies that are talking about, oh, we're going to sit here and donate millions of dollars to Black entrepreneurs and Black children reading programs and scholarships. Okay, then how in the world do you expect Black people to get it? Like, trust me, I think I might do a video where I might get on my computer and like screen share or whatever, where I just go in to see how to gain these funds that these major companies supposedly donated to Black community, because we're Black, right? So let's see how to get that money, because I feel like not only are a lot of these corporations doing this, but also the foundations that are receiving the money is like, I'm sorry, where is your plan on how you're allocating funds? Like, what qualifies for a person of color to receive these funds? You know, like, these are major things that when you are donating your money, that you need to understand where it goes and how the receivers are able to receive those funds. So a lot of that is driven by just research. But it also ties back into, do not let your mental health be drained by these trivial tokens of, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you want some pennies? No. So just make sure that when you are seeing like these companies that are trivial, just say to yourself, okay, I need XYZ product. This company over here said that they donate it towards Black people. The way I see it is, if you were on the up and up, you wouldn't even have to make that announcement. You wouldn't even have to donate, because it would be the proof in the pudding. I should be able to pull up all your board pictures, and I should be able to see levels of diversity, and not just white women counting as diversity, because that's a whole nother topic, but diversity. So don't sit here and be like, here, we're going to put some money out into a bucket that Black people then have to find a way to get, which still creates the financial divide. Okay. And think that, I help the Black people, I'm a little white savior. No. So I definitely think for your mental health, taking a break from social media is important too. Cause I know when I see a lot of these companies that are like, oh, I'm changing this, I like get triggered. I'm like, you're changing a name. Whoop dee dee da. I don't care. You're gonna allow a Black person to now run a small division of the company that in a couple months nobody's even gonna remember you said that, and I'm pretty sure the person's no longer gonna be working there. You know, it's very easy to get wrapped up in the social media circus. And so that's another part of mental health. Just taking a step back, not being so reactive. When you're not reactive, it's easier to not be triggered. So when you're not being triggered, guess what? You're able to have a clearer mind. And having a clearer mind means focus on some things you like to do. Like if there's a business that you've always wanted to start, see what it takes to get it off the ground, you know? If there's, you know, art projects that you're like, oh, I just want to be creative. You know, you might have like a job that doesn't allow you to have any creative juices flowing. Take this time right now to start allowing yourself to be you. I always liken it to this. When you're a little kid, what are some of the things that you like to do just for fun? And sometimes some of those same things will still give you joy. I promise you, you're never too old to enjoy cartoons and cereal. You're never too old to be like, I'm just gonna paint, or I'm just gonna draw, or I'm gonna read a book. You're never too old to do the things that gave you joy as a child. You know, for certain things. But I definitely believe that it's all about putting yourself first and making sure that your mental health is in check. So if you notice that you are quarantined with somebody and you're like, ooh, child, do I have enough bail money? Can I get away? Like maybe if I starve them a little bit, I can drag them. You know, if you start having crazy thoughts like that, you might want to take some time and decompress away from said individual or individuals. You know, you're not in jail, you're not in prison, so you can make healthier choices with even who you surround yourself with. And I think that's the most important thing to do, is to make sure that you're really doing check-ins with yourself. Like today, before I went for my walk, I was like, wow, today was like a 4 out of 10. Like totally a 4 out of 10. I didn't feel like I got as much work done because coming behind other people that don't do their jobs, and then I have to play cleanup crew, and I don't feel as productive because I get stuck on certain things. just trying to correct other people's errors. You know, I was like, wow, I just don't feel like I'm happy. I don't feel satisfied with my day or my productivity, even though it wasn't something I could prevent. Like, I didn't do anything to prevent myself from having a productive day. I did everything I was supposed to, but I have put pressure on myself to meet expectations that most of the time are, I just need to reevaluate in the moments and be like, okay, you don't need to put pressure on yourself. Like, it's paperwork, it will be there, you'll be fine. You know, it's not your health. So definitely reevaluating some of the things in your life that are stressing you out and kind of ruling them out. Like, do you really need to entertain it? Do you really need to sit here and feel like you need to be the education source for everybody that's not Black so they can understand that you need to be heard and this isn't right? You know, there's a lot of Black people that are putting that pressure, that undue pressure on themselves to feel like they have to be the educator of the Black community to the world. I'm going to teach you. I noticed that you're not being anti-racist enough and you're not da-da-da, so I'm going to tell you. You know, like, alleviate yourself from that pressure. It's okay if people do not understand your struggle, because people choose to understand what they choose to acknowledge. Okay? People have a tendency to not acknowledge things that they do not want to confront. A lot of people right now, especially with what's going on, do not want to acknowledge the racism that has been going on. Like, heavens forbid, the white picket fence in the house and the and the 1.2 dogs and 2.5 children. Like, I thought we all had that. What do you mean? You know, you have to really look at your reality as not everybody's reality, and not everybody has to understand your reality in order for you to feel validated. Your validation comes from your experiences and really checking in with thyself. So as soon as you learn to relinquish yourself from feeling like you need to hold other people accountable for not understanding your struggle, the more relief that you're gonna have, you know. Also, doing those everyday little things where it's like, okay, I'm gonna decompress, I'm not gonna stress, I'm gonna put a pin in it, I'm gonna reserve it, I'll put it on my calendar, I will do whatever this stressing thing is the next day. And that's not to say like procrastinate, it's saying prioritize your health. Prioritize your physical health and your mental health. So I hope this video was somewhat helpful. I really hope that everybody takes time to really use self-care and put yourself first. Like, watch this video, start thinking of some things that you can do to put yourself first. If that means like getting in the kitchen and you like to bake or cook or anything, just do it. Stop making excuses. We all have a lot more time, especially if you're not going out of your home and you know you have a little bit more free time than you usually did if you were out and about or stuck in traffic somewhere. Really use this time to focus on yourself, so then once hopefully this is all over, it becomes more of a habit, like a natural habit, and then you don't have to like think about it so much. So that's all that I had for now, guys. I will see you in the next video. Do not forget to like and subscribe, comment, share the video, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye.